Da 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 da. What's my good cheer? Welcome, welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple minutes, get those notifications out, let people know I've gone live. And in the meantime, if you've never met me before, I am Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. Give me 1 second here. See if this is any better tonight. You know, I'm trying to adjust a little bit. I didn't recognize I had a little bit of catastrophe over my holidays. If you don't know, I'm just coming off of a trip that I did. I did 4 provincial parks in Ontario. But in that process, I destroyed my eyeglasses. And I literally thought I would never be able to fix them. What I had done is I cleaned my sister's car, and there was some rain repellent wipes that I wanted to put on her windshield to make sure that the car was really good out in the highway. That if it really thunderstormed and stuff, that rain would just kind of fall off the windshields. But in that process, I accidentally got that product on my eyeglasses. And for the past week, I've been wearing an old pair of glasses that have been cutting into my nose, but switching them out with these ones because they have a stronger prescription, and just kind of looking through the wax paper effect of that film that I had put on my glasses. I did some Googling, and it said it'd take a few months for it to wear off naturally in the outdoors and rain and stuff, right? And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to buy a new pair of glasses. I says, well, for next few weeks, I'm going to wash my glasses numerous times a day, and we'll see if we can speed that process up of getting that film off of my glasses, right? Well, today, the brainiac that I am, and I'm happy to have my glasses back. I do have my glasses back. That film is off, but you saw me get up and, right, turn that light off, because not only did I get that film off, can you see? I took the reflective coating off of my glasses too. You'll have no idea how I did it. I'm grateful. Without the reflective on it or with the reflective on it, I don't care. At least I can read. I can take in my lessons. I can get out there and fill out job applications, get my resumes out there, and not stumble into myself because, I noticed, because I didn't recognize, I just thought my lenses were dirty. And when I came home, it was when I came home over a week later that I recognized and realized that what I had done to my lenses on my glasses was kind of detrimental to what was right. I couldn't afford to buy a new pair of glasses, but life is what it is. And, I'm not one for crying over spilt milk, but at the same time, I adapt, I conquer, I ride waves, I look for solutions, I do Googling, and, I tried all the different little tips that they gave me, but I tried something with an old pair of glasses as a last resort a few years ago when I found myself in that same situation of needing a new pair of glasses and ruining the lenses. And what I had done is I had used oven cleaner. So my glasses were ruined anyway. I couldn't even see at them. It was like looking through wax paper, right? So as a last solution, I thought, maybe it'll work. I have a can of oven cleaner underneath the kitchen sink. I grabbed it, took my glasses to the bathroom sink, and I sprayed the poop out of them. And I let them sit there for 5 minutes, not too long, because I didn't know if it was going to melt my lenses or what it was going to do. I only left it there for a few minutes. I rinsed them off, I dried them, and I put my glasses on and went, oh my goodness, I can see. Now, I didn't do a great job because I had only left the oven cleaner on them for a few minutes. But then for the next couple hours, I was consistently, right? And I noticed it was working. Every time I used the oven cleaner and cleaned them off, a little bit more of that film came off. And then I said, you know what? That's enough. That's as good as it gets for today. Maybe tomorrow we'll do it one more time, right? The glasses are cleared. That film is gone. But I've got glare. I've got glare. And that's okay, right? Because it's just a matter of making sure that I can properly see. That's what's most important. We will still work on getting a new pair of glasses because I cannot be all reflected, right? Fly-eyed when I come into my podcast, but it is what it is. And I'm glad that I was brave enough to try the oven cleaner, because the last time I tried the oven cleaner, it didn't work. Number one, it didn't work. And right, but I was at a point where I didn't have much choice. I was looking for solutions, and everything I tried besides a scouring pad, right, didn't work. And then I thought, well, maybe we can just get this film off with oven cleaner, maybe speed up that process a little bit. If not, I'll just throw them in the garbage, right? I need new glasses. I need new glasses. But I was so excited. I was so excited today, and it put me in such a good mood, because we don't like worries and stresses on us, right? And worry and stress, for myself, I believe it's a good thing. They say that stress causes 75% of our health issues. But I think, a healthy stress, right? A healthy stress, not a life and death stress, but a good, healthy stress is healthy. It's good for us. It gets us in gear to solve problems. It gives us that sense of accomplishment, right? Sometimes it pushes us to be brave, right? Sometimes it pushes us to experiment a little bit. And I experimented. It worked out to my benefit. Super grateful for that, right? But might have to do my podcast even a little bit earlier so I don't have to have that light on. Or maybe I'll experiment with different photo shoot lighting. I do have different fluorescents and stuff. I don't normally use them. I don't find it usually necessary because it's bright enough in my space. But I will. I'll dig in. I will adapt and conquer, and maybe we won't have to buy a new pair of glasses. These are pretty much brand new. I haven't even had them a year, I don't think. Right? And so was I upset about it? I was disappointed. I was disappointed, and also, in chastising myself just a little bit, just to say, like, Cindy, can't you be a little bit easier on your things, right? Especially things that cost you lots of money. And for myself, I usually do take care of my things, but these unexpected accidents, they do happen. And it is the season for it. I just smiled. I just said, no matter what, it's going to work out. And you know what? It worked out. Maybe not perfectly, but you know what? Imperfect is better than not even trying, right? Just giving up in that. And in my next video, my Silver Lake or Silver Falls Provincial Park, Ontario, my next stopover in my series, my 2025 Provincial Park Tour that I do every September. You're going to see me not even, right? Not even try. and the consequences of that, and yeah, what happens when you just give up in things that you really want or you really need sometimes, right? I'm just going to leave that for the next video. I cleared my computer of the video that I posted yesterday. If you want to go in and check it out, it was Blue Lake Provincial Park that I had stayed at for a couple of days, and it was an amazing experience for myself. I am not technically inclined, but I did my very best when it came to the editing program. And hopefully, you guys enjoy it. At the very least, you know, maybe be able to come in and live vicariously through my own experiences, right? And join me in some of those adventures. I love mindset. I love being a YouTube creator, right? But I explore the inside and the outside. And, you know, when I spent so much time on the inside, right? I don't want anybody, especially myself, to forget that I explore the outside too. So I've got a 4-part series, at least a 4, maybe a 5 if I post one of them as one of my Walk With Me Cindy Jeans. I have a playlist where it's just me going on walks and we chit chat and stuff. So I've got at least 3 more videos, possibly 4, coming up in the next month. I'll put one up every single week. I decided that Wednesday was my upload day. Today I cleared the computer of all the footage of my last one. It's clean slate. It's all trashed and right uploaded to my Google Photos, and now we're going to start over, right? We're going to do the next one, which is Silver Falls Provincial Park, and it was my favorite. I have to. Oh, each one had something to offer, but I really enjoyed my time at Silver Falls. It was a lot of fun. In any case, you guys, I am yibber yabbering. Let me grab my cards here and we'll continue. Let me have a sip of my tea. I made a cup of tea today. I've been at it. I was gonna relax totally today, and I ended up just doing all kinds of projects, and it started with the glasses. And then once, I got those glasses fixed and I'm able to read again and see properly and not bounce off the walls. I was wondering why I had a little bit of vertigo going on. It was because I wasn't seeing properly, right? Now I can see properly again. You might not be able to because of the glare, but it is what it is. And if, right? And instead of watching, you could, right, listen to the podcast, and then you don't have to be all glared out like the sun from my glasses. Okay, let me have a sip of my tea. I hope everybody. Oh, Melvin's here. Oh, I get a good cheer today. Okay, Melvin's good cheer. My good cheer is I got a blood test and bought a naphtha fueled camp stove today. Naphtha. What's the difference between naphtha fueled and propane? What's the difference in that? And what's the cost? Is the cost really a big difference? And is it easy to get that naphtha fuel? Is it easily accessible? Like if you went to the hardware store or something, would you be able to easily get it? Hard to believe. I am chit chattering today. I chit chatter every single day. Every single day, Melvin. You know that. You know that. But yeah, I was pretty excited today about getting my glasses back because I really could not afford a new pair of glasses. And it put me in that little bit of a worry, in my budgeting. Like I budgeted my groceries for right. I'm going to have to buy in bulk a little bit to make sure that I'm able to get through get through next month. And you know what? I can't believe the price of things. It's just incredible. I used to be called, oh, it used to be called white gas and it cost too much, but you bought it anyways. Oh my goodness, Melvin. Right? We all spoil ourselves, right? But it's easy. Is it easy to get the white gas? Is it easily, uh, right? Do you have to go out of your way? Is it going to be a hassle to get that fuel for that camp stove? I didn't know you like camping, Melvin. Where do you go camping? You want to just shoot that out there, right? I do the provincial parks. Usually it's always the provincial parks that I do. We have lots of crown land and stuff, but I do love Ontario's provincial parks. And I think when it comes to camping, right, it's going to be my place. It's right. Oh, well, maybe just not even my place, but it's going to be the joy in my life when I take holidays and go away and stuff. It's well, I'm going to say it's affordable, but I tell you, some of these years that I go, like last year, my trip cost me about $7,000. $7,000 last year. This year, I did the whole trip. I think it was like $1,200 altogether. I gave my sister 600 to for the car, $200 for the gas. Yeah, I would say about $1,200 this year's trip was, but last year it was over 7,000. I could have pretty much gone anywhere as I wanted in the entire world for that. And what did I do? I bought a luxury vehicle and set it up like an RV. I think it's considered a luxury. It's the Hyundai Infinity. It was such a nice vehicle, huge monster truck too, SUV, but so big you have to consider it a truck. Okay, got it at the hardware store. Actually, I have wanted one for quite a while, and today was the day. Probably because you weren't driving that expensive truck. Right? That's true. Because last year, and I went quite a ways last year. Last year was, it was a road trip. Every day I was driving long distances last year. I remember when I went over my gas receipts, I had spent over $1,200 just in gas. And I think to rent the vehicle, I think it cost me about $1,500, 15 or $1,600 to rent the vehicle. And then my campsites, I rented 12 different campsites. So that was another probably $700 there. And then all that meat that I bought that I kept throwing away because I couldn't keep the ice on it to keep it fresh and cool. Yeah, and that's why this year I was adamant that I wasn't going to take any meat with me, that I wasn't going to use, and I wasn't going to buy any meat unless I could make sure that it stayed cold and refrigerated, right? I just use a Coleman cooler, a little rollaway one, because it's just me. Right? It's only about this big. What's in there? Sausages, bacon, and eggs, margarine. That's pretty much all that it was. But yeah, you're right, Melvin. It was that luxury vehicle, and it was so big. That truck was so big. I put $60 to $100 every single day into that truck just for gas, just for gas. But I had unlimited mileage, right? And that was kind of nice that I didn't have to worry. All I had to do is I didn't even have to clean it or anything, but it is just in my makeup that when I rent these nice vehicles, that when they get them back, that they can just rent them right away. They don't have to wash them because I've taken them through the car wash, and I vacuumed them out and I wiped them out, and right? They're probably even nicer when I return them when I compared to when I picked them up. And also another thing about doing that is that when you leave it, because I always drop the vehicle off the night before, so I don't have to be there first thing in the morning to drop the vehicle off. I do it the night before, and they're usually closed. So if you leave the vehicle close to the car wash door, that'll be the first vehicle to go in, right? And also, because it was a big, they're usually big, beautiful vehicles that I rent, that, somebody who comes in to rent a vehicle, they'll go, oh, I want that one, right? Because it's not much more. It's like $20 more or $30 more a day to rent something quite luxury. And people don't realize that. They just take whatever vehicle is right available in the moment, not realizing that you can go in and you can order a vehicle. Oh, you should have seen me the year, not last year, but the year before. I had the Jeep Rubicon, and I booked that one like a month before my trip. And my sister was on her way to pick me up so we could go get the vehicle. And they phoned me and they said, oh, sorry, we don't have the Jeep for you. Oh my goodness. We talk about customer from hell. That was me. I was bawling on the phone. I said, you ruined my entire holidays. And he said, well, we have this luxury vehicle and this luxury vehicle. It's like the best vehicle you could probably have. This is a $200,000 vehicle. You can have it. I said, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted the Jeep Rubicon, right? Now you're telling me I can't have it, right? Well, thank you very much, but I'm not coming all the way out to the airport to pick up some, can't remember. It was Mercedes or some fancy car. I says, I'll just go to my dealership a couple of blocks away. I'll just walk there and tell my sister not to bother to come and get me. And I'll just go and get a vehicle there. 5 minutes later, they phoned me and they said, oh, can you wait 20 minutes? If you can wait 20 minutes, we'll have it cleaned and ready to go for you. I says, is it the Jeep? They said, yeah, it's the Jeep. I said, okay, I'll be there in 20 minutes. And I was there in 20 minutes. And I tell you, I bet you those guys, when I walked in that door or pulled into their parking lot, they were probably pretty nervous to talk to me, right? Because it was my dream vehicle. It was the vehicle that I wanted to purchase for myself. Not like I'd ever be able to afford one, but I thought if I ever could, right, I might as well test drive the vehicle and take it on the trip for me, or take it on the trip with me for the couple of weeks that I was away, and test drive it. It turned out that the Jeep was not for me because I like to set these luxury vehicles up like RVs, and there wasn't enough leg room in the back of the Jeep. So it came off the list. And I remember when I brought the Jeep back, I said, oh, I've been dreaming about having my very own Jeep. But then I says, well, the new Bronco that's when the new Bronco came out, right? I says, the Bronco looks good. I says, maybe the Bronco will be my next favorite truck. And the next thing you know, everybody and their dog has got a Bronco. I don't know. It must have been off the market for a while or something, because when I'm going on my evening walks and stuff, it's like every fourth or fifth vehicle that drives by me is one of those new Broncos. Actually, I have to say, Melvin, that this year was the first year that I've been noticing that people are buying new cars. Lots of brand new cars on the road. Well, at least here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, where I'm from, right? But I notice everybody is buying new vehicles. And I don't think they're buying new vehicles because they're better situated in their lives. Maybe a little bit, right? Because we did get shut down there for a couple of years, didn't we? But then a couple of years after that, we're a little bit anxious about, oh my goodness, our money and getting back to work. And it took a while for us to get our finances, I think for everybody, to get our finances back on track. And I think this is the first year that people are feeling, I don't think safe when it comes to their money, because that was a big lesson for us, wasn't it? Lots of people lost their jobs. You know, I know a lot of people who work remotely from home now, right? My sister's company, and she was one of the top executives with the company that she worked for, and she worked in business furnishings, and her company went under because, right, these companies didn't want to be in office buildings and stuff. They wanted to have home offices. And I said to my sister, I says, well, why don't you start your own company, but just sell small, sell the home offices? Because even for myself, I want a home office. I got a little one. It's not a great one, but I got a little one, right? Everybody wants a little home office. You can make good money doing that. And but then she got sick, and right, and yeah, and then she got an early retirement and stuff. So that kind of panned out. But the timing of it for her was probably good because her company was going to go under anyway. But because she was so good, because she was the number one salesman in all of North America in business furnishings, um, uh, she would have had a lot of people fighting for her to come work for her or work for them, because everybody in the industry knew who my sister was. And yeah, her the company she worked for actually uh, probably went under a little bit sooner than they could have. They could have held on. If my sister was able to keep her health a little bit, she would have stayed there, and she would have, right. She might even have been able to save that company. Who's to say? But you can't cry over spilt milk, right? You can't, if things are meant to be, things are meant to be that way. And yeah, I don't know how I got into that conversation when it came to cars, but about being iffy about our money. It's just right now we're starting to feel a little bit better, right? I'm just going to see if this helps at all. Mm, not really. I didn't recognize until I came in live tonight that I had actually taken the reflective coating off of my glasses when I took all that rain repellent chemical that had gotten on my glasses. I don't know if I used the wipes as a wipe for my glasses. I may have, because it was all on the inside. Um, but yeah, I can tell everything is kind of reflective. I got like Terminator eyes. Look at that, Melvin. Right? If a plane goes by, they're gonna, oh my goodness, somebody's signaling us. Let's go rescue her. Okay. Um uh Probably because you weren't driving that expensive truck, and that's true, right? But I love the luxury vehicles. It's the one time when I could truly, right, feel good. I feel good about myself anyway, but to feel that, that I have my moments too where I can feel like I'm a little bit of an it girl, right? And again, I was testing vehicles, and also, right, it was living the life that I wanted to live, right? So I don't regret any of those fancy vehicles that I rented. in actuality, my Mitsubishi Outlander was my favorite out of all the vehicles that I've driven on those trips. And that car was mine and probably the least expensive of all the vehicles. I think, what did we pay for that? 27,000. I got it was only a couple of years old, but yeah, I love my seven-seater Outlander. It was really amazing, and I could pop those seats down, and there was plenty of room for me to set it up like an RV. And it was so dependable, so dependable. I never had to do anything with that vehicle except put on a new pair of tires because I wore the tires out so badly on my urban exploration driving up and down those back roads. Yeah, good memories, right? I haven't thought about that vehicle for a while, but it is true. I really love the Mitsubishi vehicles. They're really nice. Um, and I did, Melvin. I felt really good about renting those vehicles. Like I said, it was my opportunity to feel spoiled, right? I spoiled myself. It for my in reference, analogy maybe is, when I was a little kid, we'd celebrate Christmas. And on Christmas Day, my dad had a rule. The answer no was not allowed, right? So whatever you wanted, as long as you asked, it would be a yes, right? Now, the only thing that was a no was me and mandarin oranges. My parents wouldn't let me eat the mandarin oranges because they didn't work with my system very, very well. I was always sick because I love mandarin oranges. And on Christmas Eve, I would eat so many mandarin oranges. But by the time I woke up in the morning, oh my goodness, stinky burps and indigestion. Oh, yeah, I suffered lots on Christmas Day. Finally, I think by the time I was 10 years old, yeah, Cindy wasn't allowed mandarin oranges after Christmas, right? One or two. But it's like the mincemeat tarts. Once you get into them, right, you just can't stop until they're gone. But yeah, it was an amazing trip, Melvin. This last trip that I was on, it was the best trip out of all of them, and so many mishaps. And there are mishaps every time I go on these trips, right? But usually only in the moment, and they resolve themselves. And I didn't even know I had destroyed my glasses until I had gotten home because I just thought they were just filthy. Right? And I thought, oh, as soon as I go home and give them a good clean and wash them in the soap, it'll be all good again. And not to realize it was just like wax paper. It was just like wax paper. I tried to balance my head in a certain way so I don't get. I'm doing most Morse code now, you guys. Yeah. Okay, you guys, why don't we just get into a card tonight? If you've never hung out with me before, I have 56 cards. 54 powerful words. There are two words that are in this deck twice. The word acceptance and the word belief. So other than that, 54 powerful words, they're just powerful words. I just pull one up, we go into it for a couple of minutes. Sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's just getting through it, right? But it never seems to fail me in any case, right? I try to come in, I've tried to come in and just go straight into the word, right? But I always start this jibber jabbering stuff. And I've been using that word lots lately too. But yapping, right? I come in and I go off on something, and next thing you know, an hour later, half an hour later, right? I finally, oh, let's pull a card. right? And I've had this in my hand for 15 minutes now. So let's just have a sip of my coffee, my tea, and we're going to go in. Tomorrow's going to be an outdoor day. We're going to try and get outside a little bit tomorrow. I've been in the house for a couple of days. I was going to go out today, but I was so excited about getting that fixed, my glasses fixed, that I just went into project mode, right? That sense of accomplishment. So as soon as I accomplished fixing my glasses, and I was so happy because that saved me hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And it took the pressure off of me to have to come up with that money for a new pair of glasses right away. So, I still need the glasses. I'm still going to get the glasses, right? But that rush, that pressure to get it done right away, that it's crucial, it's detrimental, right? That because it is kind of, right? Because I can't go without my glasses. I can't see anything without my glasses. And actually, when I ruined my glasses, I could see just as well without the glasses as I could with the glasses on. So it was that wax paper kind of effect, right? And yeah, I was bumping into walls and stuff. So it made it difficult for me because if I was walking down the sidewalk, I could stumble over, uneven sidewalks, or hit a tree, or fall into a bush, or get hit by a car, right? So I just kind of hung out with myself. But today, when I got that film off my glasses, I was super excited. So I said, okay, you guys, we're going to do some dishes, and we're going to do the laundry, and we're going to fix this and do this and clean the walk-in closet and wash the floors. And I got so much done. But I felt good about that because a little bit of that worry, a little bit of that stress had come off of me. And that wasn't unhealthy worry or stress, right? That's just life worry, stress. Right? It wasn't like a life and death situation. I was perfectly physically, right? Well, and it was just the worry of, oh my goodness, there's another bill. But how many of us get to walk through life and say, oh my goodness, just stack them up. They'll just get paid at the end of the month. No, we all struggle, right? We all juggle a little bit, right? We all kind of shuffle the money out to make sure that we are at the very least not drowning in debt, right? And I think it's when we live so beyond our means, right? When we live so beyond our means, then when these terrible things happen, right? Then we get upset because, oh my goodness, there's my Hawaii trip. We can't go to Hawaii now, right? Well, I was just coming off my trip. I had nothing to do, right? I was just coming in and taking my lessons and showing up here, right? We would have adapted, we would have conquered, and it would have been okay. I knew everything was going to be okay. I always know that everything is going to be okay, right? I just have to just keep smiling through it, right? And like I said, it's not like I didn't try to fix them. I Googled and I tried everything that they asked me that might be a possibility of getting that film off of my glasses. I tried all of them, right? Google didn't mention oven cleaner. That was Cindy's idea. And that was the only one that worked in the end. It was the only one that worked in the end, even though I got a little bit of glare. But I could put a lampshade up there or something, right? Or like I said, I can use the camera gear, the lighting for my camera, right? And I can just set it up here and it'll just go on my face a little bit. Practice, adapt, conquer, try things out, right? I'm just happy I got my glasses. Okay, let's pick a card. Just go into it for a couple of minutes. Again, if you've never hung out with me before, 54 powerful words. They're just powerful words. We're just first impression, first perspective, first thing that comes to my mind. And this is the card. Oh my goodness. I love this. We got the word dreams. Dreams are goals not yet realized. It is, lots of times people say, oh, I wish I could do that, oh, I wish I could be like that, my favorite singer or my favorite actor, or I wish I could be a fireman or a nurse or a doctor. Well, you can. You dream, you set that dream, you set that goal, and you start working towards it, right? You start working towards it. And this is how our dreams are manifested. This is how our dreams come true because we're keeping it, right? Top of mind, right? In our mind all the time. And every opportunity, every conversation, every experience, every choice that we make is an opportunity to take one more step towards your dreams. Now, a good example of that. How about an example? We were talking about it yesterday. I would love to be an RV girl. I would love to have an RV when it comes to my retirement and to be able to set off on my traveling adventures, right? That's a dream of mine. But not only is it a dream, and you think, oh my goodness, that's a great dream, Cindy. How are you going to accomplish that? How are you going to turn your dream into a goal? You know how much RVs cost? Yeah, I do. But if I don't make moves towards my dreams, I have zero chance, right? Remember what I said yesterday that the next convention, RV convention that comes to our city, I'm going to it, right? And I'm going to start checking out RVs. And when I divvy out my job applications, I'm going to apply. I know where there's a couple of RV, I don't call RV lots, these big stores that sell RVs and trailers and campers and stuff. We have a few of those there, right? Here. So, maybe I'll drop off a couple of job applications and hello, Hannah, right? Maybe I'll drop off a couple of job applications. And in that, I'll be able to build experience. I'll be able to meet other people who love RVing, and maybe I'll make some new friends, and they'll say, "Cindy, come along. We're going to Ontario, right? We're going to Blue Lake, right? We're going to Silver Falls, right?" And I was, "Oh, okay. I'm in. I'm in." But if you just keep the dream in here and don't do anything about it, nothing's going to come of it, right? Dreams are goals not yet realized, right? It's a wonderful thing to dream, right? Like I dreamed of my Jeep Rubicon. But I moved towards it, didn't I? And I rented that vehicle for my trip year before last, and I come to realize it wasn't a good fit for me, right? The Jeep Rubicon. But if it had just been a dream and then all of a sudden I hit the lottery, I would never hit the lottery because I don't gamble. I don't do lottery tickets. I don't even do 50-50 draws or nothing, right? If you guys don't know, if you've hung out with me for any length of time, you know I was a compulsive gambler. I was a compulsive gambler for over 20 years. It contributed to my marriage falling apart. I put my life in a trash can, and that's the truth. And it even in that, it was my dream to get off those machines. I was a video lottery terminal person. I like the slot machines, right? Um, but my dream was to come off of gambling because I could see what it was doing to my life. I could see what it was doing to me, what it was turning me into, because it was turning me into a liar, because I was lying to my husband as to where my tip money was, where, and I was like spending the grocery money. And then, like we said, we all juggle bills. I was juggling my bills and just sprinkling. It was just like sprinkles on my bills. And that kind of stress, that build up, because when it's just building, building, building in that stress, that it will blow up. It will crash in on your life in some way. I knew that I didn't know it was going to take the marriage down, but right, I knew that it wasn't healthy for my relationship, because I spent more time with those video lottery terminals than I did with my husband. So it was my dream. It was my wish. I cried for it at night every time I lost a ton of money. And I could put $1,000 into those machines, win $1,000, and still leave that night from the casino with $1,000 in the hole, even after winning big that way, because you don't stop. Once you're gambling, that's just extra play money, right? So my dream was to quit gambling. It was a dream, and I have no idea how I managed to make those. Again, it was in my choices, right? Dreams are goals not yet realized, right? I'm never playing those machines again. I just lost $500 last night. I'm never touching those machines again. And then wake up in the morning and find a $20 bill and go, oh, I'm taking this last 20. And instead of buying a roast for dinner or something, I would take it to the casino and say, oh, okay, let's double this. And I might double it. I might triple it. I might win a big one, but I would spend every penny and more, and borrow, and spend every tip penny that I ever made. I don't even know why I was working. It would probably been better for me not even to work, but my job was more of a social event too, not just a paycheck. I love waitressing. I love bartending. It was my favorite job, and it's probably something that I'm gonna go back into just for a couple of years. Just go back into it. Let's see if we can get that vehicle. Right? Maybe I'll get myself an old Mitsubishi Outlander, because I was happy with that vehicle. I really was. Dreams are goals not yet realized, right? And I got off those machines. I dreamed, I wished, I prayed, right? And I'm not a big prayer. Bawl myself to sleep at night. Problem solve, right? The problems that I caused for myself, right? In that gambling addiction that I had. And then you guys might have heard me say it before. COVID saved my life. This is right. It didn't come in time to save my marriage, but it did come in and lock us down. And when it locked the world down, and we were locked down for quite a few months there, weren't we? It gave me the opportunity to come off the machines. And when I had lost that hunger to get on that machine, right? I was able to make it a choice, right? And then I says, okay, Cindy, we're not going to play machines anymore. And it was a little bit of a battle with myself, right? For probably 6 months or so, right? But I came off those machines. I made it my goal. And sometimes we can take big chunks and make big moves depending on the resources that we have. I mean, if you're a millionaire and you want to go to Hawaii, then you're just going to go to Hawaii, and that's just like pocket changed for you, right? But lots of times we have these goals, and it's just a matter of our mindset, right? And sometimes We just have to be happy just to make that move. We start with the dream, then we make those choices, and then we start moving towards, and the next thing you know, right? Your dreams are realized. And that's the truth. You do it in baby steps and it works every time. And well, for myself, it works every time. And it might not happen right away and it might not happen in time for you to avoid something detrimentally going wrong because of what you were doing, but it will, right? You set your dreams, you set your goals, right? And you just start moving towards them. Start making the plans, start putting the pennies away, right? Whatever it is that you need to do in order to make your dreams come true, because each one of us has the right to have dreams. Each one of us, even more so, has the right to set goals and move towards them. Right? I'm not going to say, oh, Cindy, I want to be the Olympics, right? At 63 years old. I'll be 63 this month. I'm going to be 63. 64 maybe. I'm going to have to take a look. 63 or 64 years old. I'm going to be this month. Oh, 64. I know I'm 64 because I've been saying pension in one more year. That's if our prime minister doesn't change the age. He's talking about making it 67. Wouldn't that be something if I didn't get grandfathered in on that one? Oh my goodness. It would be me, just like me going to that car rental place and them being all nervous because they got to deal with me. Oh, God forbid the prime minister has to deal with me for sure. Dreams are goals, right? Not yet realized, right? And if you want something, right? If you dream for something for yourself, you turn it into a goal. Turn it into a goal, even if it feels impossible. This trip that I'm just coming off of, right? That was my dream. And I didn't think it was going to be possible this year. But I gave it my best shot. And then things just kind of rolled into that pot of glory and gloriousness that ended up being the best trip that I have taken in probably a decade. I really loved this year's Ontario Provincial Park tour. It was pretty awesome for lots of different reasons. But as you watch the adventures of it, because next Wednesday, or yeah, this Wednesday coming up, I will add the next one, which will be Silver Falls, and I got lots of footage because I was there for 3 days. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I got lots of footage. I'm gonna have to go through that. That's probably gonna be a tough video to put together because I'm sure I've got like 3 hours worth of footage for sure. But it was beautiful. I hope you guys appreciate it as much as I did. I know I was the one who got to sit in the chair and appreciate the landscapes and the storms and the fresh air and all the animals and stuff. But and the leaves fall. Oh, there was so much, but it was amazing. It was amazing. Okay, you guys, I'm going to finish my tea, take in my lesson, and we're going to call it a night. Thank you, Hannah, for popping in, and thank you for the flowers. What a nice way to do that. Hi, Cindy. It caught my attention right away. Hannah, do that every time that you come in, and then I won't miss you because I always feel bad when I miss you guys when you come in, right? Thank you, Melvin, for coming into my live tonight. I appreciate it. I'm so glad that you're back 100%. I truly was worried for you for a while there. You still hadn't told me why you hadn't been around, but there was a good reason, I know. Okay, you guys, give me a thumbs up before you leave. Leave a comment down below if you want to. Everybody, have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.